if you don't rise through the ranks, it's not the end of the world. We all want to do it. I'm not saying put away that ambition. I'm saying if it doesn't happen, don't feel as though you have failed in your career, because you haven't. If you're delivering a quality product and you're delivering a message to your listeners and a game to your listeners that they're really bought into and they really enjoy, then you've done your job and you've done it exceedingly well.
Hi again, and welcome into episode 12 of STAA's Next Level Sportscasting. I'm your host, Michael Watrang, and our guest in episode 12 is the radio play-by-play voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Tim Alcorn. Tim, thanks so much for the time. I do want to start with this. What would a college student Tim at Kent State say about the job that he currently has?
Oh, wow. That's a great question to get things started. And I think college student Tim, all the way back at KSU, as you alluded to, would say, your dream has come true. Because from the time I was a little guy, long before Kent State, I wanted to be a professional play-by-play announcer. And so even though it happened a lot later than I anticipated, and certainly as most people go through their career path a lot later than it usually happens, it did happen. So, yeah, and I think that Kent State Tim would be thrilled.
You spent nearly 3 decades at AM 930 WEOL, thousands of high school sporting events. How did you learn how to improve as a sportscaster over that time?
Number one, just work tirelessly at honing your craft. Being in the Cleveland market, was able to listen to other incredible play-by-play announcers like Joe Tate and like Tom Hamilton and the late Nev Chandler and the late Jim Donovan. And not that I copied from those guys, but they set the standard as far as the basic building blocks. And actually, I would have those guys listen to my tapes, and I would have him listen to my tapes, and I would have others listen to my tapes. What are you hearing? Are there phrases that I'm using too much? And are there any suggestions that you would offer, constructive criticism? So, and I listen to my work constantly. Drove my wife crazy. Outcome. I go, yeah, I know the outcome, but I want to hear how I describe it. So, yeah, you have to be willing to be self-critical. You have to be willing to take constructive criticism for those that are in the field, and just keep working at it.
When you originally start your career, most sportscasters are told, start at a small local station and then you'll be able to work your way up. Certainly you've had great opportunities along your way doing some pre and post game stuff within the Cavaliers organization, but how did you deal over the time that you were at AM 930 with any opportunities that you didn't get, kind of that rejection?
Well, it's difficult. Actually, when Joe Tate retired, I was in the running to replace Joe. And I got all the way down to the final 2 or 3. And John Michael, who ironically I then replaced as the radio voice of the Cavs when he transitioned to television, he got the job. And listen, somebody's going to get the job, and a lot of people aren't going to get the job. And one of the things that sustained me through that was, number one, they did think enough of my work to say, you're one of our finalists. And sure, you're disappointed that you don't get it, but it shows that you're doing quality work, and that people in major markets or at the NBA level or whatever the case may be are listening to you, and they understand the work that you're putting in. So you have to take it in stride and understand that only one person's going to get the job out of all the thousands or hundreds maybe of audio samples that the hiring person is going to hear. Only one person's going to land that gig. And the other thing was, I loved my job at WEOL, and I love doing play-by-play. And high school sports in Ohio in general is fantastic competition and a high level of play. So I never thought as though I was working below my pay grade or working at a level that I shouldn't be at. I tried to make every single game sound as professional and sound as high quality as it could. So once I didn't land a couple of gigs, I went back to doing high school sports. I still loved it. I had a passion for it and just did the absolute very best that I could.
It's funny you say that. We're recording this during the NBA All-Star break. The season will kick off again tomorrow, but you're getting ready to go to a high school game to broadcast a game. I mean, how many NBA broadcasters out there are getting ready to go do a high school game? So my question along those lines is, when you prepare for an NBA game, there's so much information. How do you
So
prepare for
much.
these high school sports?
Well, I generally do the high school games with Cavalier affiliate stations that are on the Cavaliers radio network. So I will reach out to their play-by-play guy or their sports director and say, "Hey, can you get me some information ahead of time?" Because whether I'm working an NBA game or for all the years that I worked high school games, the worst feeling in the world is to walk into that booth or walk into that broadcast table and feel as though you're not prepared. So at the high school level, to your point, you're not getting the volume of information that you're getting at the NBA level. But if you can get the basics, points per game, free throw shooting percentage, three ball shooting percentage, some team notes, what can you tell me about the coach? And generally, you weave that into the broadcast, and not that you're going to get every single solitary morsel of information into it like you do in an NBA game, but you have enough to fill those gaps. And then certainly my time, all those decades doing high school sports, you talk about the gym and you talk about the communities and you talk about the conference races. And so, and I do still keep up with that from the local area that I came from outside Cleveland. So I don't walk in totally unprepared. And I do try to get the information that's available to the affiliate station, try to get that at least written down somewhere so that I have some notes to go off.
If you've been a sportscaster for a month or 100 years, you've run into technical difficulties, difficulties with seating arrangements, different areas that you've been in. Give me a couple of the stories that you remember in terms of, I guess I'll call them nightmare scenarios that you've gone through.
Oh man, as you said, there have been so many. The old football press box where you show up and the phone line's not there, or the internet line is dead, and yeah, when equipment fails on you, and in the end, it's almost going back to what I said about not landing the gig. You just got to persevere. I've called games over a handheld telephone before for 2.5 hours. To say my wrist had a cramp would be a minor understatement. We showed up for a softball game one year, and for some reason, the phone company, why in May or June or whenever it was, thought that the phone line belonged in the football press box. I'm not sure. So we had to run about 400 yards of phone line. Thank God we brought the spools to get it over to that football press box. So yeah, we've all had those instances, and you have to be creative and you have to figure things out. You have to problem solve. But one way or the other, you have to get the game on the air. The listeners care about it. The communities care about it. The sponsors, the advertisers care about it. So you do whatever you have to do to get that game on the air. And yeah, we've all been through those scenarios where I don't know how we got it on the air, but we did. And one of the things that I always said to people that I was working with is there's no need to tell our, woe is me story to the listeners. They don't really care that I had to string 400 yards of phone line to get a softball game on the air. They want to know the inning. They want to know the score. They want to know the count. And so, yeah, you're on the radio because you had to run all that phone line. Great. Thanks for telling us. And so you move on. I mean, we've all in a football game had to sit outside if there was no room in the press box and have snow drip down your neck and get your sheets all wet. So be it. You just keep on going.
Yeah, that's all you can do. So many people, I feel like, in the sportscasting community can run into hurdles within their career where they feel like they should be getting more opportunities. They feel like they should be taking that next step. Well, you were a rookie in the NBA in your mid 50s. You were as patient
Yeah.
as they could possibly be. What advice do you give anybody at any age to be patient in this industry?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And listen, to just to be very upfront, sometimes all that patience doesn't pay off. I know a lot of guys that are still working at the high school level or the small college level that are really good sportscasters, and for whatever reason, that break hasn't happened for them. And so, again, I go back to the point of have passion for what you're doing. Have passion for calling high school games or a small college game or minor league baseball or whatever the case may be. And if you don't rise through the ranks, it's not the end of the world. We all want to do it. I'm not saying put away that ambition. I'm saying if it doesn't happen, don't feel as though you have failed in your career, because you haven't. If you're delivering a quality product and you're delivering a message to your listeners and a game to your listeners that they're really bought into and they really enjoy, then you've done your job and you've done it exceedingly well. So you do have to be patient. And sometimes, as I said, there's going to be a lot of people applying for that job and only one person's going to get it. So there's going to be a lot more disappointed people than there are happy people. But in the end, love the sportscasting angle of it. That's what I love. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm blessed to have an NBA job. It's an unbelievable gig, but I love doing play-by-play. I just think it's one of the great trades that guys and now women. I mean, there's so many women that are in sportscasting, and I think that's awesome, including the NBA level play-by-play. So it's an opportunity that to get to the highest level doesn't really extend to too many. I'm very fortunate. I'm one of 30 that have an NBA play-by-play job. But if you're one of the thousands that are doing high school or small college or major college, that's not a blemish. That's a great thing.
During your time, it's not just play by play. You've had to do sales, you've had to have other roles, wear other caps. Explain how those attributes helped you along your career.
Oh, I'm telling you, I can't begin to tell stories as to how my background in small medium market radio has helped me at the NBA level. Number one, as I mentioned, just through game prep, everything. What's the old saying? Everything you learned in kindergarten, you'll take with you through adulthood. But all the game prep and studying notes and being ready for a game. It's interesting you asked that, because when I first got the Cavs job, people would ask me, are you nervous? Are you nervous about doing the games? And I'm like, no, not really. I'm not. I'm more nervous about the peripheral things. I can call a basketball game, and I don't say that egotistically, but I just say that because I've done it for so long. Once that ball gets on the floor, I can say left corner, right wing, top of the key, in the low block. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's high school or NBA. I was more nervous, if you want to use that term, about all the other things. But in that sense, that's where my background in sales. I've been able to help with the Cavaliers as far as some sales aspects are concerned. For a guy who sold live reads during high school games, I know that the advertiser's paying for those. So I give that a little more gusto. Our producers say that all the time. You always add a little flavor to those live reads. Well, because I've sold live reads and I've done with people live reads. Live doesn't mean anything. You're not doing that client service. I'm not saying a live read has to be 40 seconds long, but add a little flavor to it. The production side of it. There are times if we're on the road, and believe me, NBA folks have equipment issues too. My background, again, I'm not an engineer, but hey, I've had to figure out why this is crackling or why we have a hiss here. So the more things you can learn, the more well-rounded you are, the more attractive you're going to be as far as moving up in the ranks, if that's what you want to do. The more you can put on your resume and help an organization, not only in just sitting there and calling the game, but in all the other aspects that go into a broadcast, the more valuable you'll become.
How do you build a relationship when you're in maybe a smaller radio station, even if it is a part of an affiliate of a professional team? How do you build that relationship within those teams?
Great point. Well, the radio station that I was at, and which you mentioned at the beginning of our conversation here, WEOL, we were a Cavalier affiliate station. So we, in essence, immersed ourselves into that relationship. So many times, if you're an affiliate, you just carry the games and say, well, it's nice to be able to carry the games. We wanted to do more than that. We wanted to have weekly interviews, with the play-by-play guy or the color commentary or commentator. We wanted, if they wanted, to have a marketing person on, talk about some of the upcoming promotions that are taking place at the arena. So we got engaged with we want to be more than an affiliate that just carries the games. Can we do a promotion with you guy? Maybe it's a ticket giveaway. So try to make your station as an affiliate station really stand out. Go to some games if you're within a short drive or even a reasonable drive. Get a credential and head down to a game and introduce yourself. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do aside from just carrying the games that are fed to you.
I want to speak specifically about, I'll call the older generation of sportscasters out there that might still be lower level college, even higher level college, that haven't necessarily taken that big jump yet. Because there are a lot of younger sportscasters. Noah Eagle just called the All-Star game the other day, and he's still in his 20s. But how do older broadcasters, A, continue to find ways to get jobs, get better, and then ultimately find ways to knock that door down and take that next leap in their career?
It's a great question. I think number one is just to maintain that passion for the work. As long as you're doing quality work, I think you will always have an opportunity to at least be considered for a position, because number one is you get to the higher levels, MLB, NFL, NBA, they want people that deliver a high quality product. And so if your audio work that you submit is of high quality, I think number one, that at least keeps you in the door. Number two, or helps you make your way through. And secondly, I would think that if you show an interest in position, you're telling that employer, listen, I'm willing to relocate, or I'm willing to pay would be, but if you're willing to stay even or even step back a little bit and help out in some other ways, as long as you show that ambition and as long as you show that quality of work, I think people would still be interested in you. I mean, as you said, I was 57. I was 57 years old when I got the Cavs job. So, but they knew my work. They were familiar with me. They knew our relationship that I had built with the Cavaliers through the affiliate station that I was working at. So there was a lot that went into that. And I think for those that are out there that are saying, man, I'd still like to take that one step. First of all, you have to go for it, and you have to be enthusiastic in going for it. And then you have to let people know that age isn't a factor here, that I can do this job. I got a lot of gas left in the tank. And I think as long as you sell that to them sincerely, then you'll be considered for the opportunity.
So let's fast forward to you officially getting the job. Congratulations. Awesome. COVID hits. How would you describe year number one in the NBA?
Oh, man. It was insane. It was really crazy because, as you said, here's my first year in the NBA and kind of getting my footing in just so far as relationships and teams and so forth. Like I said, I thought the play-by-play was going all right. And then here we are in February, into early March, I believe, late February, early March, when COVID hit and they shut it down, and bang, we were done. And I was like, holy smokes. Although it was interesting, once the stoppages started coming, I had a feeling Adam Silver was going to shut it down, and he did. And I give him all sorts of credit for that. But once it was done, we were finished. We didn't go to the bubble because our record was pretty sour at that point. So now we go back into it the following December. If you recall, it was December when they started back up, and never traveled with the team. So did those games off of monitors at Rocket Arena. And then the games that were home games at Rocket Arena, my broadcast partner, Jim Jones, and I, we were separated by more than 6 feet, if you remember the old 6 feet rule. And then had glass partitions between us and very few fans in the stands. So it was difficult. But you know what? Again, I love doing play-by-play. And one of the greatest compliments that I received was, months later or even a year or two later, when people would ask me about COVID, and I was like, yeah, we weren't traveling. We were calling those games off monitors. And people were surprised. Like, really? Wow. Now, they were feeding all the sound to us. The NBA did a remarkable job production-wise and engineering-wise. So when the Cavs were on the road, we were getting all the road sound as far as the arena, the scoreboard. But people were like, yeah, we thought you were sitting right there calling the game. I'm like, no, we were looking at television monitors. So, again, that's the passion for doing play-by-play. But to your point, it was very, very challenging.
Along the lines of preparation, we kind of hinted at it earlier, but when you're doing an NBA game, for the most part, everybody knows the majority of the stories, especially for some of the stars. How do you keep things fresh on a night-to-night basis?
Well, number one, I mentioned Joe Tate, one of the all-time greats in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield. And Joe and I had a remarkably close relationship. It almost became a father-son type relationship, or at least it was to me. And one of the things that Joe would impart on me time and time and time again was people are listening because they can't see it. So you have to time and score and painting the picture. It was all about the building blocks of broadcasting. You don't have to razzle dazzle them with all sorts of stats and analytics and your knowledge of the game. Call the game and then sprinkle some other things in. So number one, I take that approach every single game I go into. You know about Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, all these guys with the Cavaliers. Sure, you try to throw something fresh in there or a stat or something that maybe they did over the All-Star break. But in the end, and especially with the NBA game, it's moving so quickly that the time is limited to really get stories in like you can in football or even baseball, although that has sped up with the shot or with the pitch clock. But yeah, you do try to sprinkle some fresh things in, but from a basketball perspective, to me, it's all about scoring time, where we are in the game. Call the game. And then if a guy's at the free throw line or if you have a injury timeout or whatever the case may be, that's when you try to find something to drop in there. And keep in mind, I work with a color commentator in Jim Jones, so I've got to give him the opportunity to get something in as well. It's challenging.
I want to go inside prep, and it's a little nerdy, but I think all of us sportscasters like hearing a little bit about how everybody preps. When you prep, do you go through stats every single game, even on back-to-backs? If a free throw percentage drops from 83 to 82, type it into a board, write it down. How do you go about your prep?
Yeah, I mean, I do update the stats every single day. Now, once you get 50, 60 games into the NBA season, like we're at right now, they're not going to change too much. But yeah, I want to stay on top of my numbers. There are some that jump out at me a little bit more than others. I like to know total three balls. If Sam Merrill hits 5 tomorrow night, I want to know that he's up to 109 on the year or whatever the case may be. So I do update every day insofar as the stats are concerned. Now, the Cavs do buy a software program that I need to refresh it every day, and it automatically updates the stats. That's a real nice program to have. But I want to have fresh numbers going into every game. I also take a look at all the league numbers going into every game, not only for the Cavaliers, but their opponent that night. So for Brooklyn tomorrow night, I'm sure they're at or near the bottom of the league in a lot of categories, but where are they in points per game, offensive efficiency, offensive rating, those type of things. Do a lot. I actually probably do more work on the opposition because to your point, tomorrow night will be game 56, I believe, for the Cavaliers. 56 or 57. So I pretty much know the Cavalier roster and their stories now. But now we've seen Brooklyn already this year, but I'll go back and review bios and stats and so forth just to make sure I'm on top of things. But I try to put more actually into the opposition just so I'm completely up to date on the other team that night.
What is the key to being selfless with the analyst on radio?
Boy, it's a tough balancing act. I work with a guy in Jim Jones who's amazing. Number one, his basketball knowledge. Played for the Cavaliers, won a world championship with the Lakers, with Kareem and Magic Johnson, and so he has a tremendous knowledge of the game. And so I want to give him the opportunity to get his thoughts in. And I don't want to be the one dominating the show. I mean, people listen for both of us. They don't just listen for me. They want to hear what Jim has to say. So he knows his moments. He's very good about that insofar as, if a guy's at the free throw line, Jim may talk through both free throws, and then I'll say, Donovan hit them both. Donovan split the pair or whatever, just to let people know what he did at the line. But I try to give Jim ample room to get his thoughts in, because to me, your partner, your color commentator, is very valuable. Perhaps they're seeing things off ball that you're not seeing as a play-by-play guy, because most play-by-play guys, you're watching that ball, you're watching the action so that you can call it accurately. Jim may be watching a matchup that I'm not, particularly looking at on a play.
One final question for you. What are traits that make great radio play-by-play?
It's interesting. I have a deeper voice, and people are like, "Oh, you have a great voice for radio." And to me, it's not the voice. It's not. It's the passion. It's having energy. Energy for an NBA game can be challenging. You're doing 82 games, but I just try to give it my A+ effort every single solitary broadcast. I'm excited to be there. I want the listeners to be excited and energized to listen to the game. So I think, to me, be as descriptive as possible, bring as much energy as possible, have fun with it. Listen, sports is entertainment. And not that when it's a 2-point game with 2 minutes to go. So, and be yourself. Don't try to be anything or anybody that you're not. Be yourself. Have fun. Bring a lot of energy, and obviously hone your craft so that you're as descriptive as possible in describing that action to your listeners.
Tim, this has been very insightful. Congratulations on the opportunity with the Cavs. Good luck in the second half, and hopefully it's a deep run into the postseason. Thanks so much.
Boy, we hope so as well. Hey, I loved being on with you. Great questions. And anytime you want to have a conversation, I'll be glad to join you.
Looking forward to it. Our guest in episode 12 of STAA's Next Level Sportscasting has been Cleveland Cavaliers radio play-by-play voice, Tim Alcorn. I'm Michael Watrang. Thanks so much for watching.